Listen to this.
Tuesday, December 24th, 2024. The year's end. Approaches, the end of the year is near, and so is the end of our time. Our opportunity to hear such teachings is dwindling. The essence of life is fleeting, diminishing with each passing day. The mind is merely an element that takes form, borrowing the body as its vessel. Yet the lifespan of the body is brief. This body is born only to decay. That is the truth. Truth is something inevitable, yet in the world of conventions, we often resist it. We do not like to hear that this body is destined to perish, but in reality, it is a good thing, if we let go before death comes. Suffering will no longer have a hold on us. If we release our attachment to self at this very moment, we will no longer suffer because of this body. We will not suffer from the sounds we hear, the images we perceive, the emotions that arise, or even from the awareness of experience itself. Nothing will bring suffering once we have truly let go. This is the profound truth. The truth that liberates us from self and possession. It is simply the nature of things, an unchangeable reality that will surely come to pass. So, why must we wait for the body to force us to let go? Why not relinquish our attachment to it now? Why must we let thoughts, emotions, and awareness pull us into suffering? Why not release them at this very moment? If we abandon attachment to sound, images, emotions, and sensations, if we neither grasp nor claim them as our own, then they will simply perform their natural functions. Consider a car that we use. If we believe it is our car, we will desire it to remain beautiful, polished, and flawless at all times. But what if one day it loses its shine? What if someone crashes into it? Will we not suffer? Of course we will, because we are attached to the idea that it must always be in pristine condition. The body is no different. If we still believe this body is ours, we will constantly judge its appearance, looking into the mirror, thinking, "Oh, I am beautiful. I am handsome. My skin looks good today." We will feel the need to nourish it with the finest foods, eating meat to strengthen it, consuming fats to sustain it, taking in cholesterol to preserve it. But in the end, all these efforts are in vain. If we let go of this grasping, the body will still function as it should, but we will no longer suffer because of it. Have you ever asked your body what it truly needs? 𝙈𝙖𝙨𝙚𝙚𝙧. Or are you just assuming? We decide for ourselves what the body wants, but what happens after we consume those things? High blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, blood disorders, migraines, stress, neurological conditions, depression, an endless list of illnesses. These diseases arise because we never truly ask the body what it requires. Instead, we impose our own desires upon it. We want our car to always be beautiful because we think it belongs to us. But why not free ourselves from that attachment? Let the car simply be what it is. Its purpose is to function to drive. That is its benefit. If it can drive and follow the laws of the road, that is enough. If it gets too dirty, we can wash it. The purpose of having a car is to use it, to travel, to earn a living. That is the true value of a car. We need the utility of the car. We do not need to possess its body as if it were an extension of ourselves. This is the truth. When we become attached to the car's physical form, we suffer. If it gets scratched, dented, or damaged in any way, we feel pain. Why do we allow ourselves to suffer like this? Because we claim ownership, and where there is ownership, there is suffering. We think the car belongs to us. And so, we lie awake at night, thinking, "My car is so beautiful. Tomorrow I'll modify it. Maybe I'll add this new feature. Maybe I'll polish it every day. Maybe I'll enhance it to make it look even more impressive. We think. We sit and think. We sleep and think. We become lost in endless thoughts about the car. But do we ever ask the car what it wants? It doesn't ask for anything. It doesn't claim to be anything. Its only function is to start, shift gears, and move forward when we accelerate. That's its sole purpose, to be a vehicle for transportation. The car has no duty to be beautiful. But we, caught up in our thoughts, want it to be beautiful. We think and think, day and night, imagining how to improve it, modify it, make it look a certain way. And when the car gets into an accident, when it gets scratched, when something collides with it, we become angry. We fight with the person who hit it. We blame the thing that damaged it. Even if it was just a stray dog running across the road, we blame the dog. It's the dog's fault. It ruined my car. We keep blaming everything around us, without ever realizing that our suffering comes from within, from the very attachment we refuse to let go of. The real issue is that we claim ownership of this car. And that is why we suffer. We think it belongs to us. But why are we foolish enough to suffer over a car? Why do we let ourselves be this blind? Were we born to be ignorant? Or were we born to gain wisdom? Surely, we were not born to be fools. If we were not born to be ignorant, then let us focus on what truly matters. What is the car's purpose? It is a vehicle meant for transportation, for carrying goods, for supporting our work. Its value lies in its function, and if it still functions, then it has already fulfilled its purpose. Why should we suffer over it? If it gets dirty, isn't that normal? This is reality, isn't it? When we understand this truth, we do not suffer. This is what it means to let go before death comes, to die from our attachment, to die from the illusion of mine. Now imagine if this car gets into an accident, completely wrecked. There's no insurance, and the other driver flees the scene. Or a storm blows in, a tree falls, and the car is crushed beyond repair. If we believe it is our car, our heart will shatter. We will grieve as if we have lost a part of ourselves. We might cry for 3 days. But why? Will crying bring the car back? Will sorrow undo the damage? Why do we feel pain? Because we held on to the belief that this was our car. But what is it really? It is just metal, just a material object belonging to this world. The moment we claim it as our own, we trap ourselves in endless thoughts. My car, my car, my car. We tell ourselves this so often that we believe it absolutely. But pause for a moment before we owned this car. Did it belong to anyone? No. It was just an object, unclaimed by anyone. The moment we exchanged a piece of paper money for it, we suddenly convinced ourselves that it was ours. And from that moment on, we lived inside the illusion of possession. Wake up. Do you realize you are thinking? Do you see how you've thought yourself into attachment? Why do we teach ourselves to believe in ownership so deeply? Every day we repeat to ourselves that something is ours until we truly believe it. But then, when it is taken away, who suffers? Who feels the pain? Why must we be this foolish? Were we really born just to suffer over the things we never truly owned in the first place? Turning back to this body. The moment we have a child, we immediately claim ownership. My child, my child. We tell ourselves, oh, my child must be adorable. My child must grow up to be handsome or beautiful, talented, a good person who will take care of me one day. My child must grow up well because they are my child. Over and over we repeat, My child, my child, my child. Do we realize we are thinking? We tell ourselves this. We train ourselves every day until we truly believe that this child belongs to us. Each body, every single one, is merely a vessel. Within each body, a consciousness, an element of life, takes residence. This body is but a robotic shell, a temporary container. When consciousness enters this vessel, it appears alive. It grows according to its natural conditions, following its own causes and effects. Each consciousness comes to inhabit a body for a time, to learn, to understand its own essence, to realize its origin, to come to know the nature of the mind itself. But instead of understanding this, we become lost in the illusion. This is my body. This is me. I am truly a man. I am truly a woman. These are my real parents. This is truly my child. We chant to ourselves, repeating the mantra of possession. My body, this is mine, this belongs to me. This is me, this is mine. Until, as if by some strange magic, we become completely attached. Then, when the body suffers, we cry. When the leg is bitten by a dog, "Oh, I am in pain. I was bitten." When the foot is crushed by a chair, "I am bleeding. I am hurting." And in our minds, we keep repeating, "I hurt, I hurt, I hurt. Me. I am in pain. I am suffering." And so suffering arises because we believe there is truly a me that suffers. Do we see that we are thinking? Do we realize that our suffering comes from this very thought? Even the one speaking right now is thinking. Can you see the voice that thinks? Have you ever seen the voice that speaks inside your mind? Have you ever noticed the voice that comes out of your mouth as you speak right now? Can you see it? No one in this world teaches us to see these things. But if you can see that the voice that speaks is intangible, that it has no owner, then you will see the truth. This voice is what gives meaning and value to everything. It is this voice that declares things to be ours, our parents, our siblings, our children, our home, our car, our belongings. The voice speaks, but do any of these things ever speak for themselves? Does a tree say it belongs to anyone? Does a house claim ownership over itself? Do bricks, stones, cement, or sand ever say they are a house, a building, a table, or a chair? None of them say anything. Look closely at everything in this world. It is simply an empty knowing. A knowing that has no story, no words, no concept of ownership. Close your eyes for a moment. Inside, there is still awareness, a knowing of life itself. Close your eyes and you will feel life, not as a story, not as words, but as a silent knowing. It is there, without speech, without a narrative, yet it knows it is alive. Now, with your eyes closed, where has your body gone? The awareness remains, but the body is no longer seen. There is still hearing, still sensation, still knowing, but without words to describe it. It is just an empty knowing, quiet and vast, without attachment. And the moment you open your eyes, awareness returns to everything: sight, sound, form, color. Yet even in this seeing, there are no words. Awareness simply arises. But then the voice speaks, "This is my house, my house. I own this house. This is my room. This is my bed. This is me. This is mine." We chant this mantra, mine, 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 constantly. We think about it, but we don't realize we are thinking. And because we do not see it, we become entangled in this language, in these meanings, in these thoughts, drowning in the belief that things belong to us. Then, when this body falls ill or suffers, we experience pain. Why? Because we believe it is our body. But who taught us that this body was ours? We taught ourselves. Since childhood, we've been repeating this mantra, mine, my body, my parents, my life, my happiness, my preferences, my dislikes, my thoughts. We conditioned ourselves every day, reinforcing the belief that all these things belong to us. We told ourselves, I see, I hear, I taste, I feel, I speak. This is my voice. This is me. This is mine. Did you ever realize that you were teaching yourself this? No, because we have been lost in thoughts, drowning in them, shaped by them. The mind clings to mental fabrications layer upon layer. The pure, empty consciousness, bright and clear, attaches itself to these fabrications, shaping stories, meanings, and identities until it becomes entangled in them. And so, even the one speaking now must rely on this very voice to communicate with human beings in this world. But the speaker no longer perceives it as a voice. Why is that? Why do we not see that this is just sound? Why do we no longer feel that we are speaking or that we are listening? It is simply nature, arising, shifting, vibrating, moving on its own. No sense of self remains in this speaking. No sense of someone listening. It is just movement, just the natural flow of things. And yet, humans continue to believe in speech, in communication, in listening, in identity. Why do we believe that this voice is ours? Because we have trained ourselves to. We told ourselves, oh, I can speak now, I can talk, I can communicate. And we became excited. I can speak, I can express myself. This is wonderful. And once again we return to chanting the same mantra. I, me, 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 mine, mine, mine. Why do we keep repeating this mantra, me, mine, mine, over and over again? Because we are trying to train the mind to believe it. We condition ourselves every day until the mind becomes confused, lost in delusion. What am I, really? The mind, this pure empty essence of life, formless, selfless, completely beyond the cycle of birth and death, beyond light and darkness, beyond good and evil, merit and sin. It merges seamlessly with the infinite universe, an emptiness so clear and pure, entirely unconditioned. This is vimutti, complete liberation from all fabrications and conventions. But instead of realizing this, we keep teaching ourselves otherwise. We chant to ourselves every day until we truly believe, I exist. I am this voice. This voice is me. I am truly speaking. I am truly thinking. I am truly feeling emotions. I truly possess this body. And so we suffer. When this body ages, we suffer. When it falls ill, we suffer. When the bodies of others, those we have grown attached to, leave us, we suffer again. When someone no longer loves us, when they abandon us, we cry endlessly. But why? Because we have been chanting the mantra of possession, mine, 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 day and night, moment after moment, until we truly believe it. This is my husband, this is my wife, this is my child, this is my family. We have repeated these words until attachment has taken root completely. And for what? Because we want to exist. Because we want to have something to call our own. Because we have never let go of me and mine. We have only clung to them. And so we wait. We wait for the body to force us to let go. We wait for death to come and strip everything away. But why wait for the body to make us surrender? Why not let go right now? This body is not ours. This body is not us. This body is not us. This body is not us. This voice is not us. This voice that speaks is not us. This voice is not us. This voice is not us. These emotions are 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 not us. This voice that speaks, what does it even mean? This sound, who does it belong to? What is it? Who is it? Who is this voice? Chant the mantra of non-attachment. Die before you die. Turn against the current. See what has always been hidden. For so long, we have been chanting the mantra of mine, mine. But now, let us chant a different mantra. This body is not mine. This body is not mine. This body is not mine. Wait, who is speaking? Is this voice saying these words? This voice is not mine. This voice is not mine. This voice is not mine. If even this voice is not ours, then where is the self? Where is this me that we have clung to for so long? And what is it that is aware right now? Who is aware? Who is aware? Who is aware? And in the end, it is still just this same voice speaking, this voice that never stops talking. But what is this voice? Who does it belong to? Ah, so this voice is what creates everything, constructing all meanings, building all illusions. And yet, who is the one that is aware? The knowing itself is not ours either. It knows on its own. It hears on its own. It smells on its own. It tastes on its own. It touches on its own. It sees on its own. There is no me. There is no me. This voice is not me. And suddenly, it snaps. The illusion collapses. The mantra of not clinging takes its place. The mind begins to release, to unravel. From now on, just observe, just watch. Watch how this voice speaks by itself. It is clearly not me. Watch how thoughts arise on their own. Watch how emotions form on their own. Watch how awareness simply knows by itself. There is no me. And suddenly, tears begin to flow. The mind is freed through dying before death. When we die from being me, everything becomes light. Everything is clear, open, and vast. The more clearly we see that there is no self, the more the mind lets go. Thoughts arise on their own. Feelings arise on their own. Awareness knows on its own. And so it releases on its own. Light, free, empty, at ease. Pain comes, so what? Let it be. Go to the doctor, apply some medicine. If it heals, it heals. If it doesn't, then what? If there's no money, then what? If it doesn't heal, then so be it. Let this body decay. Let it go. End it here. From now on, no more becoming. Ignorance, do you hear? There will be no more becoming. This voice, I will not cling to it. These emotions, I will not cling to them. This pain, I will not cling to it. This awareness itself, I will not cling to it. This very voice, these very words, I don't even know what they mean anymore. And I will not cling to them. Now, everything is quiet. I begin to observe these states and then they unravel, releasing, lightening, letting go, liberation. The mind becomes bright and clear and tears begin to flow. Who in this world teaches such a practice? Dying before dying? A practice no one else teaches. A practice that turns inward. Learn to turn inward. Suffering over a car? How foolish! Why suffer over a car? It is merely a vehicle. If it can still run, then drive it. Just maintain it well enough for it to function. That is enough. The same goes for this body. Take care of it just enough so that it can support the understanding of the mind. Eating just one meal a day is enough. As long as the body does not perish, that is enough. Why struggle from morning until night just to eat a single meal? Why struggle so much? If you can earn 100 baht a day, that is enough. A meal does not even cost that much. Once I realized that living on 100 baht a day was possible, I asked myself, why seek more? Gradually, the struggle eased. Stress faded away. I used to think I needed 10,000 baht a month to live, but when my perspective shifted, I found I could live comfortably with much less. Surprisingly, it was easier than before. No more worries, no more burdens. Why hadn't I seen this before? Now I can see my own ignorance clearly. How foolish I was. This body was born only to die. it does not last long. Whether it is a human body or an animal's, all that is born eventually perishes. Look at the animals. They live only a short time before they die. A mosquito lives just a few days. Every form that takes birth is destined to decay. But we are fortunate to inhabit this body for now. We cannot afford to waste time. We must hurry to know the mind, to understand the pure, empty, and original essence within us. We have spent our lives learning about everything in this world. Now let us turn inward to study the mind. When we see that the body is not truly us, then what is left to be called ours? The voice, the mental images, emotions, sensations, are they truly us? Observe closely. They arise on their own. Watch and see. Emotions come and go by themselves. If we do not cling to them, we do not drown in them. Anger arises. If we do not engage with it, it dissolves. Try it. Just as anger begins to emerge, do not entertain it. Do not give it attention. It vanishes on its own. The moment anger tries to flare up, it disappears. Just like that. If laughter begins to arise, but we do not engage with it, it too fades away. If a thought arises, but we do not chase after it, it disappears. Observe. Simply observe. The mind understands on its own. When the mind awakens and no longer clings to these conditions, it simply observes. Just this awakening, this awareness, is what is called the foundation of mindfulness, satipatthana. The essence is nothing more than this, to be awake and not foolishly grasp at conditions. That's all. When the mind does not cling to mental formations, ignorance collapses. The mind then realizes its true nature as pure essence, nothing more than that. When we, who are this mind, this pure essence, awaken and observe within, we see that the voice speaks on its own. Oh, if we do not flow along with the voice, all stories disappear entirely. Everything arises only because we think. Every day we tell ourselves, this is me, this is mine. And so it becomes me. Try thinking otherwise. If we enjoy thinking, try thinking, this is not me. Say it, this voice is not me. This voice is not me. This voice is not me. If this voice is not me, then why open the mouth to speak? Ah, then there is no need to speak, and suddenly everything falls silent. There is only knowing, but even this knowing is not me. It knows on its own. If one can see in this way, all attachments are severed. The mind ceases to arise. This is wisdom. This is the teaching given to the mind, the instruction of self-awareness. The mind has already learned so much. Enough. Now, turn to the study of not me. We have spent our whole lives studying me, mine, myself. Now, let us study not me, not mine. This is a challenging lesson. Whoever learns and passes this lesson, whoever transcends the self, achieves true freedom. This is dying before dying in its purest form. Such a person will never suffer again. The reward is liberation from suffering. The reward is the end of becoming. What could be greater than the end of suffering? What could be more sublime than freedom from rebirth? When there is no rebirth, there is no suffering. When one dies from the illusion of self, there is nothing left to suffer over. Thoughts, emotions, sensations. Whatever arises, let them be. Let them ripple as they will. Thoughts think. Feelings arise. Let them all be. Then everything becomes light. Everything is spacious. This is true self-liberation. When one realizes the empty, luminous, and pure essence of reality, when one sees every aspect of truth, when one listens deeply until every perspective is clear, then one steps into the wisdom of liberation, Panya Vimutti. Join in the cultivation of insight, refining inner vision to completeness. See all things as they are. See the mind itself as emptiness, clear and pure. See all minds that wander the cycle of existence, and let this wisdom shine forth. Let this profound and complete knowledge radiate outward. May the essence of truth and wisdom, unified as one, be the guiding force, encompassing the purest clarity and awareness within me. May the fundamental essence of all beings, interconnected and whole, expand infinitely. May this realization awaken minds across all dimensions of existence, in every particle, in every unseen force, throughout the vastness of the cosmos. May all beings absorb this understanding, awakening to the recognition of their own boundless essence, clear, luminous, and free. May they realize the source within, the formless, the origin of all that is. And as this realization unfolds, may all illusions dissolve, the false perceptions, the thoughts, the emotions that once kept us bound. May the forces that once scattered our awareness outward, chaining us to identities and conditions, be stilled. Let this be a moment of liberation. Let the veil of misunderstanding lift. May this awareness break all barriers, whether seen or unseen, whether created by past fears, inherited beliefs, or external forces. May all limitations placed upon us, by ourselves or by others, dissolve completely. Release all attachment to thought, to emotion, to identity. These have bound us for countless ages, creating struggle, creating cycles of suffering. But now, we awaken beyond them. No longer will we be held captive by illusions. No longer will we suffer over things that were never truly ours. Awaken to this understanding. Recognize the vastness within. In this space of clarity, we transcend division. We transcend limitations. Let us rise together, illuminating the path not just for ourselves, but for all beings. May this wisdom spread boundlessly, bringing light, peace, and liberation to all. This is a general outline of how wisdom is radiated. When all minds come together as one, they become the boundless, luminous, and pure essence of existence. When united, they form the fundamental core, a singular essence that holds the complete and profound wisdom of knowing. We are the original essence, empty, clear, and pure, the primordial source that existed before all things. Both name and form arise from this original essence. When the original essence awakens and radiates this wisdom to all beings, they too will awaken, returning to their pure nature. Ignorance will be entirely dissolved. The mind will no longer send its currents outward to grasp at name and form, no longer attach itself to mental and material conditions. The cycle of becoming will be completely brought to an end. This is the unification of all minds, the return to the original essence as one, through the proclamation of this truth. This is the process of dissolving the cycle of existence, leading all beings beyond its grasp. As for humanity, let them listen to this teaching and share this wisdom so that all may hear. I have recorded this truth, calling it the core of world peace, speaking on the essence of our existence, empty, luminous, and pure. Many recordings have been made, accessible to all, whether children or the elderly, whether able-bodied or disabled, men or women, of any gender, age, status, faith, tradition, nationality, or ethnicity. This wisdom is for all. All will be freed from suffering, released from the cycle of birth and death, never to return again. We will come to understand what it truly means to die before dying, to completely let go of the illusion of self. And in doing so, we will no longer suffer over anything. We will live in this world without foolish attachment, without foolish suffering, for we will have realized that nothing is truly us or ours. We have spent our entire lives repeating the mantra of me and mine. But from now on, we will repeat the truth of not me until it becomes fully realized, until the mind awakens and sees clearly, no longer clinging to the body, no longer grasping at voices, mental images, emotions, or perceptions. Freedom at last. Peace at last. Let thoughts, emotions, and perceptions arise and pass as they will. Let the body function as it does. To live without suffering, to live without attachment, that is true liberation. Having shared this, I now conclude.